Mr. Craig Evans, my directorate manager, and Jamie Murphy, the Senior Communications Officer, I want to invite you all to this formal opening of the National Alkaptonuria Centre, which is now going to be called the Robert Gregory National Alkaptonuria Centre. I just want to remind all of us that Sir Archibald Garrett, in 1902, he was working on Alkaptonuria. 110 years later, we now have the first centre to develop new treatments to learn more about this condition. So it is really a milestone day for Alkaptonuria. I'm just going to set out the order of business for the rest of the half an hour or so. There's going to be 3 speeches, so lasting about 15 or 20 minutes. So I'm really pleased that Mr. Aidan Kehoe, the Chief Exec of the Royal Liverpool Hospital, has taken time to be here today and start off with the first speech. He will in turn be followed by Dr. Nicola, who's the CEO and the Chair of the AK Society. Thank you very much, Nick, for coming and for your tireless energy in making this happen. And then we have the patron of the AK Society, Lord Ward-Atherton, who will formally open the centre and unveil the plaque. So, without further ado, I'm just going to invite Mr. Aidan Kehoe to come and say a few words. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I feel like a little bit of an imposter in a way. I've only been at the Trust for a couple of months, and you know, so it's strange coming to an opening when I know so much work and years of work has gone into this from a lot of people. But you know, on behalf of the Trust, I want to welcome everybody here. Just reading the story really of AKU and how things have developed, it's fascinating. And you know, looking back 10 years and you know, really just starting with yourself and Robert, starting to look at what you've got now. I just have to say what a fantastic piece of work that is, and you know, fantastic. All of the people involved, the resilience to keep going, to keep fighting, to bring people together. You know, I think it's a fantastic moment. And as I say, I'm a bit of a gatecrasher at the event, not having done anything in a way to contribute to this. But I hope in the years to come, you know, I and the Trust can help take it further as well, and you know, we'll do all that we can to do that. We're committed to that. But my main role here today is to say welcome, well done on all of the hard work that you've all been doing. It's great to see now that, you know, for the first time ever you're into research for AKU, and we've got the drug nitisinone, you know, that is being developed. We're being able to provide treatment that was never there before. Absolutely fantastic, and I'm sure fantastic for the patients. I know so many people have worked so hard. So obviously Robert and the family being there right at the beginning, founding the society, you know, fantastic, and I'm sure must be very proud now to see what that's grown to. Lord Ward-Atherton for coming along to do the opening and being the patron of the society. Thanks to Nick Serro, listening to the radio this morning. That was a fantastic piece on Radio Merseyside, I thought, in terms of explaining, you know, what this illness was all about, and explaining it in simple terms so that people out there could really understand it. And I think you will get a lot of support from people who are listening to the radio this morning. So well done on that, Nick. Dr. Ranganath, obviously, for all of the hard work, again, right there at the beginning. Again, must be a very proud moment for you, but well done. And for me, again, it's great to see clinicians in this hospital really pushing these things, going beyond the call of just their job, but creating something that, you know, is really worthwhile for years to come, and creating a great legacy. So thank you. And thanks also to Professors Jim Gallagher and Professor Jonathan Jarvis. Again, the research element of this, as you all know, is so important. It's great to see the universities involved and their team, the universities of Liverpool, John Moores, and also I think we've got UCLan involved as well. So you know, fantastic for those research teams, and thank you all for your efforts. George Howard MP, you know, great again to get political support for what you're trying to do, and I know that will have helped in terms of getting some of the funding in and so on. So thanks very much, George. Simon Brophy, we haven't met, so I'm not sure where Simon. Is that you, Simon? But from the Swedish Orphan Biography for the development of the drug, obviously. So thanks to the company. Mark Scott, again I haven't found Mark yet, so I'm not sure where Mark is, but again from the Department of Health, it's a support in the commissioning of the service, and again really important because this is going to be an international centre, and you know, leading the world, so it's great to have that DH support for that. And members of the multidisciplinary team at the Royal, you know, the team is doing a great work, and again I'm sure you're all proud to be standing here now after the years of work to get to this point. So well done to everybody. I think at that point that's enough from me. I think over to the people who've really worked hard on the development, so over to Nick, but well done to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Thank you. It started for me 13 years ago actually. The pharmaceutical company Swedish Orphan, who gave us £2,000 to set up our first website. In parallel we raised money, and we also through marathons and whatnot, and for that we worked with Dr. Tim Halliwell, and we did the first post-mortem of a patient, which was published in Histopathology. You know. That got us going, and then after that we raised some money from a foundation, and with that we paid for Adam, who's here, to do his PhD and develop a cell model of AKU, which was so important to actually understanding the basis of ochronosis. And so we kept on going, and then after that we raised £60,000 from the Chillick Trust to do a natural history study of patients who came here over 3 years, and for that we're very grateful to the team here who did all the studies. And out of that came the AKU Severity Score Index that Ranga and Trevor Cox developed, and which has formed the basis of our clinical trial. Then after that, Ranga was developing a very good friendship with Jonathan and with Jim at the University of Liverpool, and we raised money from the big lottery fund, £500,000. The lottery's been very supportive for an animal model, which has proven actually exceptionally good, and the mice who are given nitisinone don't develop any of the symptoms if they're given it from an early age, you know. So it's been kind of gradual. And then we also raised money for an information centre that was based here, and that was again from the lottery, and for that we then contacted all the GPs in the UK and identified 81 patients, because at the beginning we knew of 4 patients, and I think that was you, Bob, your sister, and my 2 children. And then we actually really struggled for a number of years. We had the trial at the NIH, which failed 3 years ago, and we really realised that we need to give this a big push, otherwise it would flounder. And so for 2 years I can remember we were doing grant applications, you know, with all the teams here and all that, and we were struggling actually, and then last year was a really good year. Because last year is when the funding was accepted by the Department of Health for the National AKU Centre, which was a dream that Bob had had from the beginning about setting this here in Liverpool, and also the €6 million from the European Commission. You know, so our hope here is that in the next few years we will have an approved licensed treatment for nitisinone. Liverpool has already now been established as the world leading centre for Alkaptonuria. Everybody really looks to us here, you know. So just really thanks on behalf of the AKU Society for all the work that everyone's done. Thanks especially to Bob for inspiring us and for driving this. Thanks to Ken for being the patron and for helping us through all this, and also the House of Lords event that we did in 2007. That was a huge success. To Ranga for being such a driving force. He's one of my heroes really, a walking encyclopedia of medical knowledge, and to be honest, such an entrepreneur really when it comes to doing these things, you know, working on weekends and you know, all that. I'm just in admiration really, and also Jim and Jonathan for driving this forward, and the science and all that, for everything we've done, you know. To people like Craig also for supporting us, for Eileen, and also to Leslie here, who is our patient support officer and who has been really recruiting and helping the patients to come here, you know. So just wanted to thank everybody, to Paul, also Paul Gregory, who's Bob's brother, who's on the board of the AKU Society, Trevor for all the work he's done on statistics, and everybody that I've probably forgotten, and Adam also. So thank you very much.
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody here today for inviting me as patron of the AKU Society to officially open the Robert Gregory National Alkaptonuria Centre. I particularly wish to acknowledge Robert, his family, Chris and Patrick, Paul and Debbie and Jane, together with Robert's extended family and carers and friends. Thanks also to the welcome extended to me by Aidan Kehoe, Chief Executive of the Trust here at the Royal Liverpool University Hospital. I think the last time we had such an auspicious occasion was when some of us met in the House of Lords for our afternoon tea reception, and that was on the 15th of July 2007, sponsored very kindly by Baroness Cox of Queensbury. The event was described as a celebration in Alkaptonuria research. At the time of the House of Lords reception, I don't think any of us would have imagined just a few years later a DH-designated National AKU Centre would not only be established here at the Royal Liverpool University Hospital, but it would also be generously funded by the DH for the next 5 years and hopefully for many years after. As they say, from little acorns, mighty oaks grow. And there is no doubt that the success that has occurred for the Trust, the Department of Clinical Chemistry and Metabolic Medicine, the University of Liverpool and the AKU Society has largely only happened by one man's vision and determination, and of course I'm referring to Robert Gregory. I also want to acknowledge both Dr. Nick Saru, Chairman of the AKU Society, Dr. Ranganath as the lead consultant for the tireless efforts that they've contributed from the early days back in 2002, particularly Nick, who is an expert at fund-writing applications, I can tell you. Apart from his many behind-the-scene activities, not only for AKU, but now for many other rare diseases that he's got involved with. We've heard from Nick this project has been successful beyond belief in terms of achieving various funding, and you don't need to be an accountant, ladies and gentlemen, I say that 3 separate awards from the National Lottery amounting to £1 million, a €6 million grant, some of which was given by the European Commission, and now designated funding from the DH for the National AKU Centre here at the Royal Liverpool University Hospital. Undoubtedly, the understanding of rare genetic diseases such as Alkaptonuria will bring breakthroughs in a whole spectrum of other illnesses. Nick Saru, of course, and Leslie Harrison from the AKU Society, Simon Brophy representing Swedish Orphan Biovitrum International, the pharmaceutical company for the supply of nitisinone to the National Centre, and for their kindness for supplying nitisinone free in the EC, funded by the FP97 Develop a Cure project. And last but not least, for providing Robert the first ever funding of £2,000 back in 2002, which helped kickstart things into action. Now, in closing, I want to talk about one very dynamic man, and I'm going to read his short biography that we had published in the official handbook from the House of Lords Reception back in 2007. Robert Gregory was born in 1949, educated in Liverpool with an interest in healthcare. He subsequently embarked on a career in nursing, qualifying at Newsham General Hospital in Liverpool in the late 1960s. He became aware of various issues within the health service in the 1970s and changed careers to work as an area officer for the National Union of Public Employees. Robert progressed representing the interests of people in the NHS and was later, on amalgamation of the Unison Union, appointed their regional officer for this newly formed union. He was elected as Liverpool City Councillor and served the city from 1980 to 1983, and then later as a member of the Liverpool Area Health Authority. He left Unison in 2001 due to illness. Robert says, "I was diagnosed with Alkaptonuria in my mid-40s after developing arthritis associated with the condition. I'd never heard of AKU until I was told about it by an orthopaedic consultant at Broad Green Hospital, Liverpool. When he was told of the condition, he found there was very little known about it at the time. Robert went on to say, "I made it my goal to find out about it. I bombarded chat rooms, forums, the internet, asking for more and more information about AKU. He was eventually referred to Dr. Ranganath at the Department of Metabolic Medicine here at the Royal Liverpool University Hospital, who had a special interest in the illness and was pursuing research in both India and the United Kingdom. Shortly after, Robert set up a support group and eventually a society in 2002 and had it registered as a charity in 2003. All of this was done in the early days with his own personal savings. Very soon after this, he set up the first website for AKU. He discovered that there was some research going on in the United States by a Scandinavian drug company called Swedish Orphan, and after getting in touch with them, was successful in obtaining a grant for £2,000, which has helped him with the running costs of the society in the early days. Fortunately, having worked for many years in the NHS, he approached the Royal Liverpool University Hospital single-handed where he was a patient. He hoped that they would support him in setting up a research programme to find out more about Alkaptonuria and possibly find a cure for the condition. Due to his persistence and the goodwill of the University of Liverpool Medical School and the hospital's Department of Metabolic Medicine, eventually a research project was started. Robert was supported by leading researchers in the department, including Professor Alan Schenkin, James Gallagher, Dr. Ranganath and Dr. Tim Helliwell. Eventually he was joined by Nick Saru, who had 2 young children with a gene that can trigger this illness later in life. Since then, things have just escalated with AKU every week receiving inundated amounts of emails, inquiries from all over the world, including Europe, Eastern Bloc countries, North and South America. Bob was very hopeful of an effective cure that would come to this research, especially now due to the efforts of so many international researchers in Liverpool and Poland, Spain and the United States. He will be forever grateful to the Royal Liverpool University Hospital Trust, the Department of Clinical Chemistry and Metabolic Medicine, and particularly the important research at the University of Liverpool, underpinned, of course, by the AKU Society. Ladies and gentlemen, I think you will agree Robert's testimony speaks for itself. He describes a man selfless, not just for himself but for others, creating a beacon of hope, global hope for the future management of AKU. It is highly appropriate, therefore, that I endorse all Robert Gregory has done for so many by officially naming and opening the Robert Gregory National Alkaptonuria Centre here at the Liverpool Royal University Hospital. Thank you.